Thanks for joining me today. My name is Carl. I'm a Bob Ross certified painting instructor. I thought today we'd do one of Bob's winter paintings, Winter Paradise. This will be my version of it. So get your supplies ready or sit back and relax. Let's go up to the canvas. So up here I have a 16 by 20 canvas. I've covered it in a very thin coat of liquid white. We want the liquid white to be wet so we can move and slide paint. I do have a video, I'll put a link in the description below, a video on how to apply liquid white before painting. So I have a 2-inch brush. We'll use a little bit of the 2-inch brush today. I'm going to go into some alizarin crimson. Tap, tap, tap. And let's just put a little bit of crimson kind of in the middle of this picture. I'm just doing X strokes. We'll just do a fun winter scene. And the more you blend and soften, see these streaks, those will soften out to whatever your preference is. I don't mind them. I think it adds something to the picture. And remember, we have the liquid white up here, so that's going to mix with the crimson. Just kind of soften it. And we'll have a little water down here. Now, even though I am doing one of Bob's pictures, it'll have my own style and variation to it, which I think is good. I'm going to take that brush and go into a little bit of phthalo blue. So just tapping. Remember, the phthalo blue is very, very powerful. And let's add some blue to kind of the top, and then we'll add some water down there. There. Now around here it's going to be in the 80s and 90s, but I was in the mood for a winter scene. Sometimes that happens. I'm just going to pull across for some water. So just horizontal strokes. We're kind of mirroring the sky. There. And we won't see everything, but you know, some of it will show through. I do have a clean 2-inch brush. You can use a 1-inch brush. And let's kind of soften some of these areas. I'm just going to go over it. This is a dry brush. And we're just going to soften and blend. So I'm doing X strokes. There, beautiful. See, we can just, by tapping, I just have a little color left on the 2-inch brush. And we can create the illusion of just things happening. And then we'll come down here and just soften. Let's go into a little bit of titanium white. So I'm taking a fan brush. We're going to put in a few clouds. And let's go up here. Maybe we've got some clouds just floating up there. And I'm really concerned about that top edge. There we go. Just that top edge. And who knows, maybe corner of the brush. Maybe there's one right here. Just kind of scrub it in. Just a big, beautiful cloud. Now you can put as many or as few as you like. Again, all I really care about is that top edge. You know, and leave spaces, dance around. There we go. I see a little bit more right in here. Just a little bit. There. And who knows, we'll have a mountain in this, so we'll see how that looks. It's your world. You can have fun with it. Let's take a little bit of that crimson. I don't need much. A little bit of blue. Remember, the blue is very powerful. Kind of a lavender color. Yeah, maybe right in here. Right underneath. Don't go up to the top. We're just going to put in some shadows. And watch what happens when we blend this. Be very careful. Just in there, here and there. Maybe these are just kind of floating and wisping in the sky. There. I'm going to take that 2-inch brush and corner of the brush. I'm literally using just the corner. And we're going to start blending and softening. And it just adds so much depth. I'm going to go very close to the top edge. Look at that. And I'm just kind of doing circular motions. And it's blending that color, right, the highlights into the shadows. And we get a little bit more three-dimensionality. And then we'll fluff. So I'm just kind of lifting up, and then we'll soften. So I go across horizontally, get rid of the brush strokes. Look at that. Let's do the other one. So corner of the brush. Could use a 1-inch brush. I mean, you could use a fan brush. The 2-inch brush seems to, I think, create a softer look. Okay, fluff. 2 hairs and some air, very soft. And then go across. Now, if you want to, you could add some layers. So if I go back into some of the titanium white, maybe there's a layer right here. So right in here, you can really create some depth. There, just kind of working in layers, reload, and maybe this one is kind of just floating around here. And I think I'm going to leave that one unshaded. We'll just take our 2-inch brush and we'll just do a very light soften. Corner of the brush, and then we'll fluff. But look at that quickly. I added another layer, just like that. And it pushes that cloud farther back into the distance. All right, let's take my knife. I got some black, midnight black, and a little bit of alizarin crimson, maybe even the lavender color. We'll just scoop that up. Roll of paint. All right, big decision time. We've got a mountain right in here. Yep. Just kind of scrub in. Remember, we care about that top edge. Just really be aggressive with it. And then we're going to scrape away the excess paint. So who knows, maybe this one. Oh, the cloud is behind it. Oh, I like that. This one comes right about in there. And we're going to take our brush and we'll blend and move because we do have the wet on wet, the paint on there already, the liquid white. Who knows, maybe this one comes right there. There, and I'll get in a little bit of color here, but I don't want too much. You can kind of hear how firm I am with this. And while we're at it, let's just take that 2-inch brush since I have it. And I'm going to grab and slide the paint. And this is where we get to start shaping our mountain. And you can really see things. And if you are following me, you know, you can change as you go, keep them more simple. I'm just showing you kind of some basics there, and we'll kind of soften and blend right here. I actually like that crimson glow right under the mountain. We're going to go into the titanium white, maybe a hint of the alizarin crimson, not too much. Little roll of paint, and let's start shaping. We want the paint to just grab. There, just grab and flow right down the mountain. Remember the highlights, we're going to go to the right for today. Light pressure, let the canvas take what it wants. There. Maybe there's a few peaks right in here. And when you're painting, you know, I find painting to be very much a mood thing. Like I said, it's going to be very hot here, but I'm doing a winter scene. But I wanted to. It's just what I was in the mood for. There. High pressure. Beautiful. You know what? I'm not even a skier, but we live in an area where we have some beautiful mountains here. There. Now notice as I go down the mountain, you'll kind of notice so I start fairly with the handle perpendicular to the canvas. Then as I flow down, I flatten the handle. And that allows me to kind of use the paint as I come down. Maybe this one comes up here. There. And let things happen. You know, you'll see things sometimes as you're working on your mountain. Maybe things will kind of change as you start creating. Maybe peaks will pop out and you just see things. There, that one's living right back there. Like a whisper. There, I think we'll kind of bring this right in here. And then let's do a shadow color. And for the shadow, let's do a little bit of the mountain color, a little bit of blue, phthalo blue, and some white. There. Putting in a little indication in here. Ooh, there's a little peak. Now I like to use the small part of the knife. It does take longer, but look at this. I get to really control that paint. Maybe I want to leave a little bit of space. Oh, I like that. I can get into those little nooks and crannies. Now look at this. If I leave this here and then I go down to this peak, I can really push that distance peak or that distant peak far away. And who knows, maybe this one comes right in here. Yep. There. Look at that. Just start shaping your mountain. Now right here, this big, oh, I see one right there. Let's get this little guy. Maybe there's a ridge right there. Beautiful. Now this peak, or sorry, this portion of the mountain, I'm going to use the full blade of the knife, and we'll just put some indications here. Grabbing a little bit of that white. Who knows, maybe we just got a little ridge. Now I do see right in here, I want to feather this a little bit more, just a little bit. And this is what I usually like to do. I see Bob do it occasionally, but now that we've put our shadows, I'm going to take some of the highlight color and just go shape just a little bit. Put some final highlights. Light pressure. Light pressure. Maybe just some zingers here. Let the canvas grab. Maybe a little bit right out here. There we go. I'm going to take my 2-inch brush and we're going to start tapping the base of the mountain. Now I want to just barely go up into the mountain. Think of the lay of the land. So this 2-inch brush, see that longer direction of the brush? I want that in line with my highlights, and then I'm going to rotate it this direction for the shadows. So we're tapping in line, and then we're going to pull up, soften. Not too far, just a little bit. And then we're going to tap here at the base. Notice I switched the direction. And look at that. Sometimes that creates the illusion of distant foothills. And then we'll pull up this way. There. And now in this region here, I might very lightly just soften it. Beautiful. And we have the alizarin crimson. All right, I'm going to mix up a little bit of alizarin crimson, a little bit of phthalo blue. We want a lavender color, but I'm going to add some titanium white now. So maybe right in here, let's just kind of think right underneath here, we're going to put some, let's just get some indications here. Maybe, yeah. Just putting in some land, just tapping. And then we will put a few indications of some maybe distant trees. And you know, if you pull up like this, way far away, it looks like there's things in the distance. Look at that. And we will create a little mist and reflection here. And then we can start shaping some evergreen trees. Way far away. And notice how the evergreen tree, if I just put a little indication, that's all I need when I do the reflection. Corner of the brush, tap in the trunk. There, just some details here. Way in the distance. Yeah, maybe just one more. This one might be covered. We'll have some bushes and trees over here. So who knows? I'm going to take a 1-inch brush. If you want to use that 2-inch brush, you can. And let's grab, now here's the, it's important that we're straight down. Straight down. There. And then super careful, go across. I'm going to take a little bit of white and just ever so soft. And I'm going to spend a little extra time scrubbing in here because I want it to be a little bit softer, and maybe this, just like this. All right, let's get into some middle ground. We're going to go with some midnight black. We'll go Prussian blue, crimson. So I just have a nice dark lavender color here. You can clean it. I just used the one, I just wiped off one that I had. So I'm going into the dark color. Now these ones will be a little different. We're going to push upward. So if I push up and go down, it just kind of changes the flavor a little bit. There. Or something like that. So as you go down, I'm going to start pushing up. There we go. Oh, that's a nice one. Just overlooking beautiful water. There, look at that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just carefully get an idea. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm just going to kind of reflect it roughly, and then we'll pull down some reflections here. This is a 1-inch brush, and I'm just going to put in some bushes. There, maybe something about like that. And then we can take that brush carefully and pull some of these bushes and pull them straight down. I'm going to scrub in a little bit lower. A 2-inch brush. And I'm going to pull straight down. Whisper. And then we're going to go across to set it in. Very soft. Very soft. All right, let's take some of that mountain shadow and let's add a little bit more white, blue, Prussian blue. So I have phthalo blue, Prussian blue, kind of a cold blue color. So corner of the brush. And I'm pushing up again. Look at that, beautiful, beautiful highlights. Let's do this little one. Push up. There. If it's not sticking, make sure you add thinner or liquid white. We don't want to leave this one out. And I'm pulling in one direction. I'm going to curve it up. Let's put some highlights here. There. And we'll do some reflections. Oh, there we go. Maybe we just have a few little, and work in layers. Just touch, work in layers. I'm going to add a touch more crimson. There, just to warm this one up. There, and we'll get just some reflections there. Not too much, not too much. Whatever brush you're using to do the reflection, I'm just grabbing the 2-inch brush. A whisper. Super soft. Lightly touch, and then I'm going to go across. And then I'm going to take my knife, a little bit of titanium white, kind of getting a fresh area here. And let's just start scrubbing in. Maybe there's some ice, waterline. And it's your world. So, you know, my painting might be a little different than Bob's, but that's okay. I'm just kind of scrubbing it back up into the bushes. There. There. Ooh, it's cold. So I mixed up a little bit more of that dark color. I'm going with the big fan brush. You could use the small fan brush, maybe a little bit more black. Let's just load up a lot of color. So remember, I'm going to start pushing up. Going through the clouds. There. And like I said, it covered that little background area, but that's okay. We learned how to do it. And I see right in here, yep, there's a little friend. There, we don't see much of this one, and then it kind of just blends together. Just get some color up there. Just fine-tune some areas here. And I'm going to switch over to my 1-inch brush. This was the brush that I put in the dark bushes there. And I'm going to scrub in some bushes here. So maybe right in here, we have some happy bushes. So just kind of focusing on that top edge. There we go. All right, let's take a little bit of dark sienna and a little bit of titanium white. Maybe a little bit more white. Little roll of paint. And let's give some indications of a trunk out here. I'm going to go a little bit brighter so you can see that. Just let it grab. There. There. And then it gets darker as we get lower. There we go. And go ahead and fill in some areas if you feel you need to. And let's not forget the one in the back. Just focus on that top edge a little bit. And then this one will kind of fade off in the distance there. So on my palette, I have a little bit of titanium white and alizarin crimson, and then I have some titanium white and Prussian blue, just so I have some variation. And then I probably will rotate between two 1-inch brushes, titanium white with the red. So maybe right here, and I'm just going to push. And think of the different layers. So maybe right in here we've got, ooh, a blue one. Look at that. Right there. There. Let's just put a little, maybe a path sneaks out of here. And meanders through these beautiful bushes. There, just light pressure, little roll of paint. There we go. Just let's kind of soften this back here. Maybe it kind of starts right back there. We can't see it much back there. Just fades out into the trees. Maybe this walks around the lake. Okay, let's go into that blue color again. There. So I'm going into a little bit more of the straight color, and let's kind of sparkle some of these. Ooh, I like that. Maybe there's a little red in there. Let's warm up this area here. Ooh, that's nice. Little red back there. Some bushes down by the path. So just, you can almost use titanium white with some liquid white. And I'm going to go into a little bit more of the straight blue. And here, let's just put in a few brighter bushes. Ooh, a little bit. I like that. A little bit more vibrant. And I like to put layers in here. I feel like it adds a little bit of depth. You can certainly go a little quicker. And then we're going to take our knife and let's scrape in a few little sticks and twigs. just here and there. Think about where they'd be. And we pull that canvas color right through the paint, and it makes it look like lots of little details. And I'd say we have a finished painting, so I'm going to sign it. Hopefully you enjoyed this winter scene. Please like the video if you enjoyed my content. And if you're looking for some art supplies or Bob Ross products, you can check out my affiliate links in the description below. Check out my website at carlvonartistry.com. Happy painting. See you next time.